Hello and welcome back to NHB Retro. On the program today, we are going to be building a pretty unique version of the Greaseweazle. I do want to say that the PCBs for this project were provided to me kindly and for free by PCBWay. Very awesome of them, I think, to reach out to a channel as small as mine and help me to bring some interesting content to you guys. I'll say a few more words about them later. Anyway, let's take a look at the Greaseweazle project. Now this is obviously an open source piece of hardware, and this version of it is fairly unique. I like the styling. It actually looks a lot like a floppy disk, which of course it is meant to. This particular one is styled and sort of aimed at for use with the Amiga. However, it is just a standard Greaseweazle, and you can use it with whatever sorts of disk images you would like. I mean, in fact, I have some 5 1/4 inch disk images that I want to try burning onto floppies with this, and we'll get to that. First, let me say a couple words, though, about our sponsor today, PCBWay. PCBWay is a custom PCB prototyping service. They offer a number of services that are potentially very interesting to people in our hobby and in electronics in general. In addition to creating custom PCB prototype boards in virtually any quantity that you want, with I think a minimum of 5 boards of each design. They offer rapid turnaround. They can actually fully assemble PCB-based products for you. They offer CNC machining, 3D printing, and a number of other services that you might find very, very useful. For this project in particular, they offer a shared project section where a number of users have, actually quite a number of users have shared projects that are just ready to go. So for this one in particular, Greaseweazle, I just went in here and searched, and I found this one, I believe, pulled it right up, verified that it was what I was interested in, and just added it to my cart and went from there. It really could not be easier to order custom-made PCBs than by going to PCBWay. If you haven't checked them out already, I highly recommend them, both for perhaps doing this exact project or doing one of your own, doing custom PCBs that you've designed, etc. They're really a fantastic service, and I've used them several times and had nothing but good results. So yeah, let's get on with actually building this Greaseweazle. And again, thank you to PCBWay. Check them out at PCBWay.com. Let's go ahead and take a look at the circuit boards. In this case, we have 2 parts. We have the circuit board itself and then the faceplate that they're both designed, of course, to look like 3 1/2 inch floppies. Yeah, so there's the actual circuit boards for the device itself. Pretty interesting looking with that floppy pattern on there. And then got these Yeah, and there we go. These the faceplate. All that is a cover that will sit like that to cover the electronics. Not strictly necessary, but figured I'd give that a try as part of the whole package. All right. With that, I think I have most, if not all, of the parts collected up. Got some, there's really not that many parts on here, not that many components. Let's go ahead and get the resistors on here, and we'll get the whole thing put together. and with that, we have the PCB with all of the major components attached. As I said earlier, there really aren't that many. There's just a handful of resistors. There's one transistor, a couple LEDs, and various connectors and cords, and of course the connector for the STM32. There's also a spot here on this version for another IDC connector here, and a couple of jumpers. These are both related to the Amstrad support, which right now I'm not that interested in. But with that, yeah, everything is pretty much done. Next, I need to program the STM32 and then make a couple of very minor modifications to the board, and then we can get it installed here as well and get the faceplate installed, and we'll be done with this pretty unique looking version of the Greaseweazle. So yeah, let's get on with that. Okay, I went ahead and did the modifications to the STM32 off camera. They're very, very simple. So this is the STM32, obviously the blue pill board. This is the brains of this entire operation. This is why the Greaseweazle circuit board is really, there's nothing to it. I mean, some LEDs, some resistors, and a transistor, and that's it. And of course, then we have this essentially supercomputer soldered on there. But yeah, basically this was just a matter of modifying, taking the headers, the pin headers that are usually here off. They're a little bit too tall to have this project fit together when it's done. And then programming this through the TL link with the latest Greaseweazle firmware. Simple enough. I had a little bit of a snafu with this process where my the USB cable that I was using actually was bad. It would power the device, but I couldn't connect to it. And so for the longest time, I thought I was programming it incorrectly or whatever, until it dawned on me that I should use a different cable, and voila, everything popped right up. So yeah, with that, the circuit board is basically complete. This faceplate, I've got some standoffs on here, just some standard plastic standoffs. Faceplate goes on here like this. I'm holding it on with these little hex screws. And yeah, of course, it's always more difficult to do something like this on camera. Let's get these screwed in. But in any case, you get the idea. When it's all together, with the faceplate, kind of completes the look of this version of the Greaseweazle. Got the status LEDs that poke through. Our various power cables are kind of just hanging out there. We do have access to the onboard barrel jack if we want to power it that way. You can actually power it however you want, as long as you're getting 5 volts into it, and 12 volts also if you need it for your drive. But yeah, there it is, the complete Greaseweazle. Let's plug it in and write some images out to disk. Alrighty, I've got the Greaseweazle hooked up to a 360K drive. I'm powering both the drive and the Greaseweazle with a PC power supply. This version of the Greaseweazle does also have the option of powering it from an optional, just an AC adapter. I chose to go with the power supply because I needed to power the disk drive as well. So we've got a 5 1/4 inch disk in there, and I'm just gonna fire off the Greaseweazle software to write a disk. I'll try to put an overlay of this up on the screen, and here we go. And there we go. It's writing the disk. Once this is finished, I will I guess try to boot this on an actual PC just to see what we end up with. This is, by the way, an image of IBM PC DOS 5 point something or other. So yeah, I'll just let this go to the end, and then I'll catch you back up when it's time to test. Okay, I've got the 360K drive hooked back up to my 486 machine. I've got disk 1 of DOS 5.0 something in there that we just wrote with the Greaseweazle. Let's give it a boot. I'll just go ahead and skip the RAM test. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but the disk is grinding away as disks tend to do. And look at that. We are in IBM DOS 5.02 setup. So success. We went from a disk image off the internet through the Greaseweazle onto a physical floppy, and it seems to have worked. Pretty cool. I want to again thank PCBWay for supplying the circuit boards for this. That was very kind of them to do. You know, I have such a small channel. I think it's pretty awesome of them to reach out and allow me to bring you this content without me having to pay for the circuit boards. Again, thanks to PCBWay for that. Yeah, if you're interested, I would definitely go ahead and check out the shared project on PCBWay. It's a pretty interesting version of the Greaseweazle. And with that, I think this video is done. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. And I will catch you on the next one.